Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and it's something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. But if you saw my last YouTube video, then you'll know that I am on a mini cut, and so I wanted to share with you my top 5 tips for weight loss and why you maybe not be getting the results that you are after.
Camera action, smoking that dope from Edmond. We the new meth in Redmond. We ain't real blood, but we brethren. Run up a check in this.
So tip number 1 is going to be, don't cut out any foods. This is where people go so wrong when they start a diet. They think that they can't eat chocolate or bread or pasta, and in all honesty, that is just so wrong. When I diet, I don't cut out anything. I make sure I'm still having the exact same foods that I would have normally, but it's all about moderation. Everything in moderation when you're dieting, guys. It's just about the portion size and the quantity of how much of that thing that you're having. And I think, you know, when you're restricting yourself from not having a food for quite a long time, it only leads to overconsumption when you finally give yourself the chance to have that food. And sometimes when you cause yourself to be restricted from a food, you'll be wanting it so much that you'll suddenly, like one day, sort of just crave it so much that you have it and you ruin your diet, obviously just for that day. But you'll go over your calories, you'll feel really shit, and then it's just like a vicious cycle of restrict, binge, and that's exactly what you don't want. So when you start a diet, it is so important to make sure that you're including all of the foods that you love. And when I say that, I say it from the bottom of my heart. Like, even though I'm dieting, I'm still having chocolate every day. I'm still having pasta. I'm still having bread. It's just the quantity. And also, the main thing for me is that I'm just not snacking so much, because when I'm not dieting or when I'm not tracking my foods, I find that I just eat and eat and eat. Like, if something's on the side, I'll just eat it because it's there. But when I'm being more mindful and I'm tracking and I have a certain goal, I won't do that, because obviously I want to reach that goal. And if I'm just mindlessly snacking on food, I won't get there as quick as I want to get there. And also with dieting, I think a lot of people sort of, you know, like they'll have off-track weeks or off-track days. And the trouble is that if you're constantly having like 2 or 3 off-track days a week, it will slow your progress and it will prolong the diet. So sometimes I like to say it's best if you sort of just sit down, nail it for like 5-6 weeks, absolutely smash it, instead of like longing it out and for it sort of going on for like 12, 14, 15, 16 weeks. So that would be tip number 1, never cut out any food. Okay, my second tip, which a lot of you might be a bit confused about, but I swear down, this will save your life. When you are dieting, it is so important to make sure that you are getting enough sleep. Now, so many people underestimate how important sleep is to rest, recovery, progress, also like your mental capacity. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're gonna be fatigued, your training's gonna be worse, you're gonna be stressed, you're gonna be reaching for foods that maybe you wouldn't have reached for before. Your body is also gonna be stressed, so it's gonna be releasing cortisol. And when our body releases cortisol, it suppresses our immune system, our digestive system, our reproductive system. So everything's sort of suppressed because of this surge of cortisol. So it's so important that when you're dieting to not get stressed. And obviously when you're tired, like, it's just so easy to get stressed. So you need to make sure that you're getting at least 7 to 9 hours sleep a night. Now, a lot of us, we really struggle with that, and my own personal tip for getting that 7 to 9 hours sleep a night would be, put your phone down at least 8 o'clock. Try to like switch off, have a bit of you time, you know, sit in front of the TV, just relax, chill, switch off from work, and then you're already sort of in that zone to like chill and then get into bed and just fall asleep. There are obviously like supplements that you can take to sort of benefit your sleep, but if you can sort of do it without, and if you can get into a good routine of getting into bed at like a decent time, like 10, half 10, whatever, then at least you're sort of setting yourself up for a good next day. You're not going to be stressed, you're not going to be tired, you're not going to be reaching for those foods that you wouldn't have done normally, and you're going to be on track to reach your goals, and you're going to have the most energy to smash your sessions. Because when you're dieting, you want to still be smashing your weight sessions. You want to try and be lifting the same weight that you were previously. So you know, even though you might have less energy availability, you want to still be training to your best capacity that you possibly can, because you want to grow that muscle, or you want to maintain that muscle, but you also want to promote fat loss as well. Also, on the topic of sleep, when we are fatigued, our body will naturally not move so much. It's just a thing that our bodies do to try and conserve energy, because obviously energy availability is limited, so you're naturally not going to be moving as much. The body's trying to contain that energy, or the little amount of energy that it has. So it's important that while you're dieting and that's happening, that you give your body enough rest and recover for it to sort of maintain its capacity to the fullest that it can. Obviously, when you're on lower calories or you're in a calorie deficit, like, there will be days where you are tired, there will be days where you struggle, but that's where you sort of just have to push through. And do you know what, like, for most people on a diet, unless if you're competing, you don't need to be on low calories. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They feel like they have to be on super low calories to reach their goal, and it is not the case. You need to calculate your calories for you, your energy expenditure, your fitness, how long you've been weightlifting, your age. There are so many things that go into calculating it, and it's just about finding out what works for you. And most of the time it's trial and error, you know. Like, when I diet now, I know exactly what my body will diet on, and it's because I've done it like a few times that I sort of just get in a rhythm, and it becomes easier like the more you do it. Okay, so my third tip is going to be, put yourself first. Now, the amount of times a client will message me and be like, so we went out for dinner and then my family sort of made a comment about me asking for the sauce on the side, or they made a comment about how much I'd been going to the gym. And I completely get it. Like, my family's not into fitness either, and sometimes they'll make that comment, and you just sort of have to be like, no, do you know what, like, I'm doing this for me, this is my goal, I want to feel good, this is gonna make me feel good, and it's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to make those choices. Like, don't care about what anyone else thinks, just do what's gonna make you happy. Like, if you're unhappy in yourself and you wanna work on yourself, you wanna get fit, you wanna get leaner, you wanna grow muscle, whatever your goal is, do not care what anyone else thinks. Just do what you want to do, and that will be enough for you to sort of get there, smash it. And when you get there, they'll probably be like, wow, you look amazing. And then you'll be like, well, yeah, it's all my work, I did it. So my fourth tip is going to be similar to the first, but a bit different. Make sure you are eating your favorite foods. Now, my favorite foods are chocolate, bagels, probably, I love a protein bar. I'm a protein bar person, but also I love chicken pesto pasta or chicken avocado and balsamic vinegar on toast. It is so good. But when I'm dieting, I like to make sure that I'm still eating these foods, because they're the normal foods that I have. They're the foods that I enjoy. And if I wasn't eating them, I would feel like I was missing out. I would probably have a day where I went off track because I was missing those foods and I wanted to eat them. So it's so important to include these foods. But what I always suggest doing is, if you are tracking your macros and your calories and you fancy something that day, when you wake up in the morning, always plan your food in the morning, and then you know exactly how you're going to meet your calories and when. And I would always suggest inputting the foods that you love first. So if you want that Kit Kat, if you want that yogurt, if you want that porridge bowl, or if you want that cinnamon roll, whatever it is, input it into MyFitnessPal and then plan the whole day around the food items that you want. Obviously sometimes something's got to give, but most of the time you can still eat around it. And whether that's, you know, if you want that cinnamon roll or that donut, that's fine, but you might have to have like slightly less carbs for your lunch or your dinner, just to allow for that slightly higher carb snack. But it's fine. Like, donuts aren't bad, like nothing is bad. You just need to make sure that you're having the foods that you love, because otherwise you'll be missing out and your diet will be unsustainable, because you'll be restricting yourself. You won't be able to stick it out in the long run because you'll be craving all these foods. So yeah, definitely include your favorite foods. It's so important. It's so good for the heart and the mind. And I would just never, ever, ever, ever recommend cutting out your favorite food. Okay, and my fifth and final tip, which is probably the most important tip when it comes to dieting, and it is patience. You guys need to have patience. The amount of times a client will message me and be like, oh, it's been like 2 weeks and I haven't really seen any results. And I'm like, yeah, it's been 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks is not a huge amount of time. Like obviously you're gonna see some changes, but you're not gonna get the results you're after in 2 weeks. Dieting is hard, and there's a reason why when I coach people I say my programs are 12 weeks, and it's because results don't happen overnight. And if your results are happening in 2-3 weeks, I'm gonna tell you now, it's not gonna be sustainable, because you're probably gonna have to drop your calories a hell of a lot. It's not going to be enjoyable. It's not going to pay off in the long run, because even though you would have sort of like dieted down, lost weight, wow, in like 3-4 weeks, you would be on such low calories that after that you'd be lost. And to be honest, most of the time it causes a massive rebound and you put back on all that weight. So it's really important to do a diet slowly. Take your time, have patience, enjoy it as much as possible, and just trust the process. You have got to trust your coach, or you've got to trust the process of dieting. It's not a quick fix. It is a journey, and you're going to have up and down days, but that is okay. It's okay to have an off-track day. It is fine. You are human, and you cannot be expected to be on track every single day. It just doesn't happen. Like, unless if you're competing, then it's okay to have off-track days. Trust me. And lastly, on the topic of patience, I find a lot of people diet for 2-3 weeks and they don't see any results, and then they're like, oh, it's not working, so I'm gonna give up now. And I'm like, wait, what did you just say? It's not working, you're dieting, and you're gonna give up. So where's that gonna get you? Like, I don't understand the logic in that sort of mindset. Like, it might not be working, but that's because it's been 2-3 weeks. So give it a chance, be consistent, give it at least 5-6 weeks. And if you're still not seeing something, then obviously something needs to change. But you've got to be consistent. You've got to be doing exactly what you should be doing. And some people will sort of be like, it's not working. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you've gone out 2-3 times this week. How can you possibly expect to see fat loss results if you're going out drinking 2-3 nights a week and you're not accounting for it? So, when you're dieting, it's okay to go out and socialize 100%. I would never advise missing out on anything. But, if it's happening 2-3 times a week, then maybe you need to have a bit of a reality check as to like how quickly you're gonna see those results. And if you don't really mind about how quickly you see them, then fine, it's fine. Like, obviously you're doing what you should be doing like 5 days a week. You will see results, but it will just be a lot slower than if you were being on track sort of 7 days a week with like the odd off track day here and there. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I personally have really enjoyed my little diet so far. I think like when I started I was like 68.3, I think, and now this morning I was 65.5. So yeah, everything's going well. Like, obviously it's not all down to the weight, like the scales are completely irrelevant, but you can use them as a variable. And the main thing when you're dieting is just to go by like how you feel. If you feel good, and if you feel leaner, if your clothes are fitting better, if your measurements have come down, then that is the most important thing. The scales don't always change. I have clients who will look completely different and the weight hasn't changed. It's just down to that individual, I'm afraid. And it's important to not focus on that scale weight, because if you think about it, this is what I always say, you don't go up to someone and be like, hi, my name's Ellie, I'm 65 kilos. Like, who the fuck says that? It's not a thing, and it doesn't matter. Like, I think, having a weight as a goal is, it's not a goal, it's, because when you reach that specific number, you're not going to be any happier than before. Like, I promise you, I have dieted, I have bulked, I have done absolutely everything, and I'm not happier at like a lighter weight. It's just not what happens. So having a weight as a goal is just never a good thing. I would always have a goal that you feel better physically, that you're fitting your clothes better, that you dropped a dress size, something like that. Or maybe your goal is to get stronger, you hit a new PB. Set realistic goals which aren't gonna you know, fluctuate from day to day, and then at least you'll have a goal that is achievable, and once you reach it, you'll feel bloody good about yourself. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a little bit of motivation, and I hope it helped if you're struggling to lose weight, because, you know, I know it's a journey. It's an up and down journey. It's never going to be like a straight line. And just know, like, you will reach your goal. You've just got to be consistent, and you've just got to be patient. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please give it a thumbs up and a like, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week.
Right now I'm standing in a corner. I see you from across the room. It's kinda crowded here, but I know